It's Elementary. Today, we are joined by Johanna Ortiz, a pre-K to K teacher. You can find her on Twitter, and she shares some of her activities of when she combines storytelling with coding. So I'm just going to give it over to Johanna right now. And she's going to talk a little bit about herself and she's just going to share a little bit more about herself and talk about some of the activities she had. Sorry about that. I had some different audios coming through. So take it over.
All right. Hi, Nicole. How you doing? Thank you for having me in your program. If we can call it that, or your channel. How do you call it anyways?
So I call it It's Elementary, and it's basically the channel where we write and code stories together.
Okay. So then it is the Elementary channel. So that's technically we do. Okay, sorry. Well, like I said, yes, my name is Johanna Ortiz, and I live in New Jersey. I'm a pre-K teacher. I've been a pre-K teacher for 5 years now. And 2 years ago, I started a coding club in my school. I facilitate coding club for the pre-K students. I had pre-K, kindergarten, and we did this past school year we were doing also first graders. So I do implement like different robots. So we do robotics and coding, and we do use different platforms. Like we use Scratch Junior, we use and then the other, like we use like from the robotics that we use Osaba, and then we use also Blackly. And but for the little ones, I concentrate mostly on color coding for them, because it's just more tangible for them. And they're also like using their fine motor skills to learn how to draw lines and draw things. So we do that. And then with the older children, I'm able to do other stuff. We had done Dot and Dash, and the programs for that is like also Blackly. All these programs, kind of like after you learn one, it correlates. Like you can see different, you can see similarities. So we do. At first, like I introduced them to the different robots that we have. So for them to just explore and see and get comfortable using them. And then we move on to more telling like a story. And it's it's challenging because these students used to come to my classroom for like just one period, so once a week. So it's very difficult to like pick where you left off last week. It's like, sometimes you had to like go back and reintroduce some terms and like that until like they get more comfortable and they learn and then remember next time. So but we did during the summer last year, we did a program that it was just I was in charge of teaching technology I had pre-K all the way to, I believe it was second graders. So we did I tried to base it on a community. So we did Legos, coding Lego Express. So every time each classroom will come into my class, each one had a role. So we were doing like a scenario with the Legos. So we did tracks, and then we incorporated more stuff. And then with the older students, that were coding the story to tell our city like a story. And they use we use Scratch Junior, and we use Thinker as well. So
awesome. Yeah, that's so much. That's a lot. I never really expected coding to be, something for little ones. Like even for me, when I was developing Elementary, I never thought that kindergartners or even first graders would be using it. And then I ended up seeing these stories by pre-K and K that were facilitated by their teacher or by their parent, obviously, but they were coding and they didn't have any text. They just had audio, which completely makes sense because you can't really read or write for that matter at that young age. but they all have stories to tell. And so I think that's kind of what I want us to focus on is how can we code stories and how can we kind of facilitate that for young learners. And since you're the expert here, youngest I taught was like second grade. So I'm like, when they're little, I taught them Taekwondo, but that's a whole different story. It's like, yeah. You don't have to really do anything.
They do get excited when they see these robots and they see the iPads. They just jump right in it, and they sometimes they just want to be hands on. Like you try to and sometimes you just have to step back a little and
Mm-hmm.
and just let them go, and then you see from there you kind of mold the story as they go.
Yeah, great. So what's going to happen now is Jahira's going to go on to Elementary and she's going to screen share and sign in for us so that way we can follow along to create a story. And maybe she can give us some tips on how we as teachers or as parents can facilitate the storytelling process to make it so that kids are actually getting the most out of it and not just, dragging whatever picture comes onto the page that looks pretty. So great. So she's signed in. She has created, she already started a story, A Day at the Park.
Yes, I started one last week. I created my account, so it's just one page long, so it's not too much in it. I just wanted to see how this works. So I'm still new at it. So then, but it's good, right? Because then you can walk me through it if I make any mistakes.
Okay, great. So yeah, let's get started. We can try A Day at the Park and we can
Okay.
continue with that.
Okay. Perfect.
So I think a lot of these techniques that that you use for, to help kindergartners or pre-K to develop their story can also be used for, just older students to learn languages. I have a lot of teachers who are foreign language teachers, either for English as a secondary language or as a foreign language, or even other languages like French and German, Spanish. And pictures are really great to just make it so that way we can actually visualize what we're trying to say and give us an anchor point when we're trying to create our story. So you have A Day at the Park.
Yes.
With a beautiful background image.
Yes, I was, obviously, because now since also it's a beautiful summer, we still had time to enjoy outdoors safely. So I decided to make A Day at the Park. So what I did here is obviously, do you want me to walk you through what I did, or you want me to just keep going? I don't know.
Oh, we could just keep going. We can start with this,
Okay.
A Day at the Park. So
Okay, so that's obviously my cover. It just has my title right here,
mm-hmm.
and then my first page was I wanted to have some children work in the park, having fun, and what I did here, I had the nice background that looks like outdoors, like it could be any park. And then I put some children doing what they love to do when they go to the park. They like to go down the slides and
Mm-hmm.
some of the nice skateboarding. And maybe in this park we'll have tree house, so we can go in there. So for what I did to the coding that I did related to this was I wanted to have some music, and I wanted to have some audio, some music that would play happily, because when you're in the park, it's all happy. And so I had here I did this already. I don't know, like I had when we start the page, we'll start some music, and I
Uh-huh.
tried to put some actions to my images that are there. Um, I had this one, the boy in the skateboard. He will be bouncing when you touch, when you click on it. I mean, and the other image I add an event was for my tree house. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be blinking. If you want, we can see
Yeah, let's
how
preview
it
it.
looks like. Hopefully, you're able to hear the sound, the music I was able to add to it. Let's see. I don't hear it. Can you hear the music?
I don't hear the music.
Let's see. No.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll have to go back, but I know I did This one, the boy will be bouncing,
Yeah.
and then the tree house will be blinking. But I don't understand why it's not the sound. Let's put it from the beginning. There, there's this sound here, but it's supposed to be in my second page as well. So let's see. I'm gonna move this to the other side so I can click.
You can click on the X. The
Oh, no, but yes, you can hear the music now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So basically what I do, I just, like I said, I put music, so then we'll have some sound. I did not record a sound myself, like a test saying hello. I just put the music and I add some animations, if you will, some effects. When you click, you can see the house blinking and the boy bouncing on his keyboard. And that's basically what I did. I was just trying to see how it worked. So, and we click here, and this is for my first page. If you will see, I only add some the music because I wanted to for it to start from the beginning. So,
Okay.
so that's all I did.
Yeah, great. So actually on the second page, you don't need to play the music again because if it's the same song, it will just continue. So you can just yes?
Sorry. No, the thing is, I have put it on the second page first.
Oh, and then you decided to put
Yes.
it on
So
the
this
first.
is why I was like, wait, so maybe I don't have to. Yes, because I did it this one. I did the music on this one. So if you say then I can take the music off.
Yeah, you could just delete it and then it's fine. Yeah. So then the first page will play the music and then it'll continue through all the pages until you stop the music or you change the music.
Okay.
So, and then the other thing is it was kind of loud when we previewed it. So if you could just make the sound a little bit less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was a bit.
Okay, maybe the sound is on my computer. Let's put it this low. Can you hear the music? Because I know the first time we were not listening, we were not able to hear it.
Yeah. So great.
I can hear it now. Yes.
I can hear it now, and it sounds much better. Okay.
Sorry about that.
It was like a bit loud.
I'm sorry. So this is my music. Let's see if we can keep hearing it on the second page. Yes, I could hear it. Yes.
Okay, great. So, what kind of stories have your kids done?
Well, the stories that we had done, like I said, based on like last year, we did it. We first were doing it with hands-on, so we were using the materials that we had to, and then we based our story on that. So, so then we did this type of city, like we did train tracks, and we were put in different places, like an airport, like a mall. So then the students incorporated it. They drew their favorite scene from the town, and then they were recreating it in using Scratch Junior. So they had to create like this. They had to go in the program, and they had, let me see, I could add a page. So they had their canvas, right? And then they had to go put a background. So they will pick their background. We had one to go to the beach as well. So let's see if we have any here. So they picked, I guess this is under the ocean, right? So let's see, did it come out? No, okay.
You might have
So
to click it.
Let's go back. No, that's the sound, sorry.
Yeah, you might have to click it since it has two. Yeah, click on it, and then you can choose the color you want.
Well, let's do the light blue. Yeah. So they would do that. They were using Scratch Junior. They had to do a background. Then they would get their images or animation. So they would click if they want to use their own person, or they wanted to. Let's see if there's any fish here. So we can put a fish, and did I type it?
Yeah.
I cannot see it. Okay, so I guess this one I is the one that I can get, right? So he's a little big, but
you can resize him.
Yes. Okay, let me put him as a little small. So they would pick their trying to match what was their favorite part of our city and try to recreate it. So if they would say their favorite part was like the beach, they would get something that would look like beachy, like maybe the sand, the waves, and then they would put whatever they like the best about it. Like if they're go swimming or whatever, and then they would, after they created a scene, then they would code it. So they would go, in the platform, and they would add the blocks. So they would go here, and they would do what they would like to do. Like if they want the fish to be moving, to be flapping, to
Mm-hmm.
go up and down. So that's what they used to do. But like I said, it was a project that we did that it incorporated like different grade levels.
Mm-hmm.
For the little ones, they did end up coding. They code the like the also bars, because we put them inside the city. So we
Mm-hmm.
made we made like a road for them for inside the city for them to go like around. There were our also about police officers, so they will patrol the city. So they were in charge of doing that. They were in charge as well of making sure our Lego train was functioning correctly, and that because we had two different trains, so they needed to learn how to do the tracks that the trains will go different ways and not crash into each other. So they were doing more hands-on. We did use different apps from Asoba for them to do in the with the app to like control the Asoba, because you can control it like if it's a control remote,
Mm-hmm.
and you can also program it. So this is my fish. Let me see what I want to do my fish to do. Um, I want him to. Um, mm. Can you animate any of you? I mean, all of the images that you have here, or is only some of them?
So the animate block only works with animation objects,
Okay.
and that's
Okay.
because they have a special animation. So,
Okay.
but you
Yes,
can like
that's
move and scale and rotate all objects. So,
yeah. Let me see. Yes, because I was trying to animate the ones from before, but I was not able to do that. I was like, why is not letting me do it? I would
yeah,
put
it
the
doesn't.
black in it, and then it would just nothing would happen. I was like, but why? So now I know why. So obviously we are just putting the images here, and I put on start. Let me see if I can move it a little. I know I'm supposed to connect my blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So and this way, and this is good because it has the color code, so you know which connection you need to do. So let's see if I put my fish. Do you know what type of fish this is? I
I,
should know, right?
I have no idea. I
Okay,
don't know
well,
my
then I don't
fish.
feel so bad.
I'm like, I don't know my fish. I just know, does it look yummy or not? I don't know.
Well, he's a big fish, that's for that's for sure. So it's not our clownfish. Oh, he's bouncing. Okay, nice. So let's see if we can put him to continuously do it. Can we have him do it for a period of amount of time? Oh, it says starting. Can we? No, this is to delay
That's
the
to
program.
delay.
To
So
delay
you
it.
can sequence multiple bounces, but you can't do any looping. So looping is not really a thing that's supported because most stories don't really loop. So
Okay.
it's not really the same function. Um,
Okay.
so
So then, if I want him to keep bouncing, then I had to just add
yeah, you
more.
just add another bounce after, and then you can just keep chaining bounces if you want. You can probably click on the block, and it also adds it to the page, so it's a little easier.
Okay, let's
Yep.
see. Let's do the blink too. Let's see if I can do. I guess it can do multiple sequence, right? It can
Yeah,
do multiple
you could
functions.
do multiple, you could do sequences, and you could also have things occur at the same time, so you can put functions in parallel as well.
Let's see how
So
this one will look like. If what my fish would do. So I got to like answer one of the questions that you had asked before. Um, didn't move too much. To say how we can help our students or our children at home to do storytelling. I had done recently. I just finished doing an Asabat virtual camp. And then what I did was I made kits to the students that sign up for it, and I brought their Asabats home in a backpack. So we were doing through Zoom, and and at the end we had to do like a storytelling. First, we went through how the Asabats work for the children that were not familiarized with the Asabats. Wait, where is my page? Gotta see.
So
There.
yes.
So then at the end, they had to do a story. So what they did was they used paper and the color markers to make their own story. And what I did, I incorporated some I gave them some figurines to go along. Some of them got jungle animals, some of them got farm animals, so and one lizards and dinosaurs. So they had to tell a story and incorporate those animals that they got, those
Mm-hmm.
figurines, into their story. So it was very interesting because obviously they were very creative, and they did the story, like I said, it was more hands on because
Mm-hmm.
they had to do paper and pencil kind of thing. So they incorporated those Autobots with the Legos that they had and stuff that they had at home, and they just did a map, if you will, like of in sequences of events of the Autobot going to different animals, and they were telling the story. So, and they obviously record themselves as they were telling the story, and that's how they did that.
Mm-hmm.
For older kids, or like if you have like a first grader or kindergarten and first grader at home, I would say you can do this with them, and you can have them work in groups. Like your younger ones can do coloring, or can work together in the computer by picking the layout, by picking what they want the story to be, and then you can transition. One can start telling you the story, one can draw it, and your older child can do this in the computer.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to do this, yes, elementary at my school with my preschoolers, I would have my preschoolers uh, draw the story, and I would give them to the kindergarten to create the canvas, to
Mm-hmm.
create the background, to add the animation, the images that will go. Let's say if they want to do a day at the park, a
Mm-hmm.
day at the beach, or if they want to do just a picture book as like an alphabet book, they can do A is for apple, so they can do those things, and then my first grader will do this part. I will have the first grader do the coding because
Mm-hmm.
since the first grader will obviously know how to read, and then he can read how and put the bins and the functions, he'll be able to do that. and
Yeah.
then and then you can have these three different grade levels work in one story, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can give it back to the preschools to so they can see their story come alive like this, so it'd be great. You can do that, so they can see how their story went from paper to like be in the computer and have these sounds and animations and moving, and it'd be great.
That's a really great idea, actually. So basically, to recap, you'll have the preschoolers just draw on paper and
Yeah.
pencil their ideas. They
Yes.
would then, maybe take a picture if they're remote learning, upload it so that
Yes.
way the kindergarten class can then take a look at it.
Yes.
Kindergarten class can then take from the pictures that they were given to go on
Yes.
elementary and then create a digital version of this picture
Yes.
book. So
Yes,
they would.
using just what, let's say if the child did a story about all about me, so then if they want to say my favorite is pizza, whatever, they can, like if my preschooler did color the background, like you can ask them to provide as much detail
Mhm.
as they can, so that way to make it much easier for your kindergarten to try to match the story as best as they can. Like if you can see here, you have different backgrounds you can choose. So then I believe that as knowing that from the fact, you can say, okay, let's do a story today of a day of the park. It's a fall story, and
Mhm.
then you go from there. So um I
Yeah.
think it'll be a really nice thing to do with the grade, different grade levels, so then you can see how they can all work and make one story together.
Mm-hmm. Really great. And then once the kindergartner is done with the picture book, the kindergartner can then publish it, and the first grader can then take that story and remix it. So once again, remixing means that you can take a story that's been published and copy it to modify and do your own thing to it, and it automatically credits and notifies the original source. So that's all built in, and it makes it really easy to build upon a story. So then the first grader can then take the picture book and then add animations. If they have, siblings, they can grab their siblings to create the dialogue for the story. Yes. Things like that. I've seen that. That's really cute. Where you have like the little brother coming in to be the monkey or something.
Yes, that too. I noticed that. Yes, you can. In here you can record yourself, right? Saying something. So then you can have that for the younger children's, like the kindergarten, and even for the preschool. If you're want them to be able to, once the story, like you said, is already published, if they want to make it on, they can just add certain things, certain sounds, or they can say in their cover page, they can say their names, have their own picture. I'm talking about that. Can you add your own pictures, or it needs to be the pictures from here, from the toolbar?
So that's a great question. So we're adding picture uploads, I think this week or next week. So that should be up. Those are only for premium plans, and that's mostly because of a privacy concern. So we just don't want like everyone to have access to uploading images. We say like if you pay, at least you're somewhat responsible. And if you're a teacher who has paid, then you are responsible for making sure that the student stories that need to be published are like basically approved by you. But already, when you're a teacher, you have to approve of the story before it can be published publicly. So it's just mostly a privacy concern. But we will be adding that feature probably this week or next week once we finish the testing and getting everything ready for that. So yeah, you can add your own pictures or your own illustrations, things like that.
Yes, so that was the other question then, because yes, now that you said about the pictures and the privacy, it is true that then we as teachers need to be very careful. You don't want to put your student picture out there. If this is you're going to publish it and then it is it's like public to view from anybody has access to that.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So yes. Yeah, so then I guess because of that, then you rather take pictures of the illustration and then you can put it up. So, okay. So that's a good thing to know. Yes.
Yeah, you can take pictures of your illustrations, or if you are an artist, we have like older students who like drawing, so then they can just upload their illustrations if they're using like an illustration program. And to go back to your code, if you go to the event graph, it's because you haven't connected the object block to the functions, and that's why it's not continuing the animation. Yeah.
Oh, this one, yes.
Yeah, so you need to connect those.
Yes, I see it now. Yes.
You need to connect it to an object.
Oh, yes. Sorry, it's my fish. Yes. Where is it not going?
That's the node for the bounce. You need to get the node, the circle on the fish. Yeah, this.
Got it. There. So let's see now.
Okay.
So now
and you need to do the last one.
Yes. Now I just noticed. I noticed that one too. Okay.
It's gonna bounce.
I have to go back. Yes.
Bounce.
Oh, now yes.
Bounce.
Yes.
And there's no blink.
Let's do this one as well, so you can blink. And it's good because it will do it by itself. You don't have them to, in this one, then you don't have to click. So it would do it. So it'd be great for like, for the preschoolers, for them when they're reviewing the book, for the things to do it by themselves, because sometimes they don't know they need to click. So, so at first it'd be nice if they see that the fish is moving on the screen by itself, making some sounds as it moves from the beginning of the screen to the other, disappears. So it'd be great.
Yeah, and so when any object is clickable, it will have a blue kind of pulsing light around it. and that's just to indicate that the object can be interactable. So that's another way that, like,
Oh yes,
as a
yes,
creator, it makes it easier to show kids which ones are clickable or which
yeah,
ones you should move, things like that.
yes. Like I saw it in this one because once you preview it, then you'll see that it'll become blue. So yes, so then a blue or purplish,
Yeah.
like a shadow, and then yes, then that means that you can click on it, and then you'll see something happening. The blink effect is there, and this one, yes. But I was saying just because uh I would like for my preschoolers to
Hmm.
do the book, and then the kindergartens to take it and do it digitally, and then
Hmm.
my first graders to code and do all the interactions to it, to do the algorithms to go along with it. And then it would great in the sense that then I can project the back on my projector on the big screen
Hmm.
for them to sit back, and then they can see their story come alive.
Yeah.
And like yes, like I understand this one, you can just click and they can, but I think that for them to see something
Hmm.
that they drawn, or they did themselves first, like in paper, and then to see it, that is like it becomes like a movie.
Yeah.
I think it'll be something very powerful for them to see. And I'm sure that that would inspire them to do more stories, and be more creative, and then you can get them to see, to do this on their own time, like because for this, for them to click it, they will have to have their own, be at the computer in order for them to be able to click the image. Even though, yes, no, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. I think that you can do it once you view it. They can click it on the smartboard as well. So
Hmm.
yes. But I I do like it. I think you can use it. It's very child friendly. It's like I said, and more so like if some of the students are familiar with other platforms, that they be able to see it. And at the end you get a nice story that you had composed yourself, and then that makes your children to take responsibility unique on their own product. So that's like something really amazing to see.
Yeah, really great words. And it's just so powerful when people have, when anybody, kids, us, adults even, can take charge and create our own projects and actually see that it's, viewed, shared, appreciated, things like that. It's something that I think everybody really wants. And it's really great even during remote learning because, like I mentioned before, you have a lot of projects that are maybe within the household where you have, multiple children of different ages. Maybe the youngest is, 3, but he has a lot of opinions about what the story should be. And the older brother or sister can then record his voiceover, have it to play, and then you kind of create it as a family activity. And while this sort of activity is really difficult to do during like remote period because we're mostly we're not going to be synchronously with our children, like in the case of the one kindergarten teacher that I briefly mentioned, who had his students basically give the dialogue and he would code everything and then publish it. This remote learning experience just makes it a little difficult for all teachers all around. So just having any ideas like the one Jahira mentioned that can be scaffolded from preschool, from pre-K all the way up to first as a collaborative activity, I think is really powerful.
Yes, and because we also when if we are in the classroom also, like is we, let's say, librarians, they see different
Hmm.
grade level, so then they can start doing one project that is for the school, and that everybody can be part of it, so that they can show everybody what they did as a school, as as a together. And because, like I said before, also we had the time, it's a time frame that we have that is kind of short, and this is why sometimes it's difficult to like, or then to do a project like this, it will take a lot of time, because like I said, we don't see the same class every day. We might see
Hmm.
them once a week. So this is why, like, doing collaboration with other grade levels, we can show them their product and finish the product faster, so they can see. Because like I believe that for little ones, they also like to see what they're doing. Like, this is why they like to explore and see the Asaba, the robot, whatever it is, like moving. They want to see what is, because they get frustrated if they don't see like nothing happening, because like I said, for this it will take time if they put it in paper in order to pass it from paper to this digital version, and then the animation, it will take a little bit of time. And it's important to show them that not just that the process, but also like the end product, so
Mm-hmm.
then they are they're more excited to go back, and then you can incorporate more and make it a larger, Right.
Yeah, definitely. I really, really like this idea. I've heard other collaborative ideas, such as, like older students, fifth grade, would write stories for, the kindergarteners. But it was mostly the kindergarteners giving feedback on the stories for the older students, rather than having the idea start from the kindergartner or pre-K students. So this type of, going from the idea, starting from the young grades, and then being like, okay, older kids, now you're gonna have to make this work.
Yes,
You
yes.
got commissioned by this writer to, illustrate this book. And you can also bring a lot of like real world connections, like
Yeah.
when writers, when they write children's books, most of the time they're not illustrators, they don't know anything about that. What do? They need to, hire an illustrator, but they have to tell them what they want. They can't just say like, I want a book and it's like this.
Yes.
Now draw
And
something. Go.
yes, and then imagine like the payback of like that preschooler to see his story come alive. That's like amazing. Maybe just like when you said an illustrator or an actor, when they write their book, when they see it published and you get it fresh in the mailbox, like you're like, I'm sure you must be very proud of yourself. So I think that that's one of the things that our preschoolers can take, out of
Mhm.
this. And I'm sure you'll be making a lot of stories uh, if you do that.
Definitely. So, how long, if you were to, do this in your classroom, how would you say the scheduling would be to, kind of optimize this process for your curriculum?
Well, I would say because of, if we do from the preschool and first graders to, I would try to first make one that it would be simple. So
Mm-hmm.
then maybe within the first week we can have the product done, so then they can see it and they
Mm-hmm.
can see their work, like how their work pay off. So then I would start with something simple, maybe just recreating something small, like let's say that at the park. Like when you go to the park, what do you do? Can you draw the pictures and try to have it maybe 3 to like 5 pages long at the
Mm-hmm.
most, so then it'll be manageable and we'll be able to do it. Because I think that once you had the students hooked on the main idea, then you're able to elaborate more, and they'll be the ones that wanted add more. They would like to add more details, and they wanted, they would like to play around with more stuff. Like, oh, let's add more sound, let's add more animation, let's add more, But what? So then I think that at first it's better to keep it simple,
Mm-hmm.
because then and then you and as you do it, then after you view it, you can ask them their opinion, what they thought about it, and then you can ask them what would make it better. And like you said, once it's published, it'd be easier also to like make it extend the story and make it bigger. So I believe that it's good to do it small and then have them take those stories that will be published, for them to do it on their own and make it their own story, make it longer.
Okay, great. So I don't know if you have any words or questions for me. I know you've just been chatting the whole time, and it's really great because like I said, I have no experience at all with the little toddlers. When I have kindergarten teachers, which I've actually had a lot come to me and say, I want to use elementary in my classroom. I'm like, can your kids read?
Well, that's another thing I saw on your blocks. Your here. This is why, like, I would say that if you want your kindergartens to do it, you would probably you can collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of them might be able to read, but the ones that do not know how to read at the beginning of the year, you might be able to put them with the first graders per planning, so then per programming, so then they can do it like a group.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if you are into putting any objects here, like any pictures, like it's in some of platforms they have the for the students for pre-readers, they
Mm-hmm.
have like pictures like an icon and to
Mm-hmm.
show them what it means. So I don't know if you guys are is something that you're looking into incorporating into your blogs.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. We can definitely experiment with some of those, especially the blocks that are most often used to like play background music, play sound effect, play voiceover, bounce, fade. These are the most common blocks that people
Yes,
use.
because there's some of them they use just pictures like arrows. If
Mm-hmm.
you go forward, you have the arrow, the loops. Even though I know you said we're not doing loops here, but they had the signs. So those are the ones that students, even the pre-K and kindergarten use, because once you explain them what that sign, that symbol means, they're
Mm-hmm.
able to put it into here. But this one, since you see here you only have words, this is why then you would need a per programming,
Yeah.
collaboration.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, when we were creating elementary, we weren't considering really kindergartners coding. We were just seeing it more as a tool for maybe kindergarten teachers to use for story time, for example, to make their story time more interactive and engaging, because it's more fun when it's moving and has sounds and voiceovers. And I think it's really powerful also when you're like you're at a distance and you can't really have maybe the same effect, or maybe you don't have the synchronous time that you normally do. I know there's some teachers that have mandatory synchronous time, but some teachers are almost all asynchronous. It all depends on the district, it seems, and the school. So it's a big mess. And those are kind of the ideas I was thinking for, younger learners, or even language learners, like I mentioned before, of having it more teacher driven and teacher led. So if they were
Yeah.
to do any coding, it'd be teacher driven. It'd be like, okay, we're at the zoo. What sound does the hippo make? And then you would press record. Cacophony of hippo sounds come out. You stop the recording, and then you can kind of walk them through the logic of how they want the hippo sound to be played. Do they want to have it played when they click on the hippo, or do they want to have it played when, I don't know, when the page starts after 5 seconds? And then it could be more of a collaborative activity. But that's like what I said. It's hard when you're not face to face to do that sort of thing. So now I'm just like brainstorming other ideas of how you can do it like remotely, because I do know a lot of schools are going remote. So always open to ideas.
Yes, no, when you do it remotely, this is a great way to show them how to do it. And because, you are recording this and then you have it there for them to go back, either go and they can see it all over again. They can see, they can see their blocks, how they're being used. And then that way they can relate. They can go back to it and see as many times as they need to. So, remote does bring some challenging, but you can also, like you can do it together, like we are doing right now. You can just exactly what you just said. You add, like you can be together asking them, okay, we're gonna do a story. Today's story is about the park. What do you think you want to put on the park? What scene should we? And then you can, and by hearing them, you can do it as they talk, and it be a story that you did together, and not
Mm-hmm.
per se that they did it themselves, but they help you. So like you
Yeah.
said, collaboration is there, and yes, that will be more teacher led. But
Yeah.
you can also put those videos there out for them, for the ones that probably you have students all that get things pretty quickly, and some of them that might would like to they're curious and they would like to do it themselves. So they can go back and experiment and do it themselves at home as well.
Great. So, yeah, I think you have given us lots of ideas. Thank you so much for sharing. And I will try to write these up so other kindergarten, pre K teachers can have ideas. I know right now a lot of people are just looking for any sort of idea, and they want to incorporate technology in some sort of way, and especially coding in new ways. And storytelling is very accessible, I think, for teachers to enter. Sometimes robots are a little intimidating, and it's also just a matter of accessibility because not everyone can have robots, unfortunately, or Legos for that matter. I mean, unfortunately,
yes,
yeah, I couldn't have those, so there, it's just a matter of accessibility. And as long as like right now you have internet access, which is still challenging, but if you do have internet access and if you do have a computer, then you can go on Elementary and you can create and you can code and have fun with that. So that's what we're trying to hope that people can enjoy and have fun with.
Okay, before we leave, I have one
Yes.
question. Once you publish this story, it will be published in your Elementary. Can you download the story and
So
share it with somebody else?
you can share it, but you can't download it. So you can't download it as like a video or anything because it's not a video, and you can't really download it as a picture because it's meant to be interactive. But you can, and it's also a matter of crediting because when you publish a story on Elementary, let me just bring up a story so that you can see, and I can show that to you.
Okay. Do you want me to stop sharing my screen?
No, it's okay. You can keep it there. I'm just gonna show here.
Okay.
So when you go on Elementary, you will see at the bottom that there is a credits, and it basically says all the artists who have contributed to this work. So in this case, you have Ordinary Person, Klempash, Digital Artsy, Annie Lang Art, and David, who are the illustrators who created the images. And then you have backgrounds created by all these people, music by all these people, and sound effects by Creative Commons. So we have crediting built into Elementary. And when you share, all you have to do is just copy the URL, and you can share that URL via, Twitter, Facebook, social media, anything. The other way you can share that's really cool is when you click on the share button, you have embed. And so if you click on embed, you have the embed code. And this is what you can put in your own website or your own, blog, anything that allows embeds. And then when it's embedded, you can read the story directly on that page. So if you have like a Google Sites that has all the activities you're doing, then you can just embed the story there and people can read the story directly on your Google site. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, because I know the Elementary works with Google Classroom,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So you can link your classroom to Google Classroom, so it'll sync all your students from Google Classroom to Elementary.
Okay, so then when they do a story, you can share their stories there, so then all the students are able to see it.
Yes. So you can just copy and paste the link for the story, but when they're on like in a classroom, they also have a classroom page. So basically, the classroom page is so every classroom has a page per se, and this page basically showcases all the published stories by students in your classroom. So for example, I'm gonna go back to my browser. Here is my classroom page. You have like write and code. You can also add the subject or the grade level. And then here, I don't have any stories published by my students because this is a test class, but basically under class stories, you'll have all of the stories by all the students in your class on one page. So this can be really good if you want to, share to parents or staff. You could just share this URL and it'll have the list of all the published stories.
And since you said we can copy and paste the link, so I mean, as copy and paste a link, you can share them in Flipgrid as well. Because like with in our school for the little ones, we were doing Flipgrid. So so then in way we didn't have Google Classroom. Google Classroom are more for the older students. So then if it's just a link, you can add the link.
You could just add it, like you could add it to Google Classroom, Seesaw, email, anything. So it's a link It's public. As long as you click on it, you can access the story and read it. So
Perfect. That's great because yes, you would like to share
Mhm.
that with everybody,
Yes.
at school and with the parents as well,
Yeah.
so they can see what the child is working
Mhm.
at school.
Yeah, so for when students are within a classroom, then they can, when it's published, they can also comment on each other's stories. But that's private. So the comments are private. So people outside the classroom can't see it, and people outside the classroom can't comment. It's just within the classroom. But that can be another way that you can add something that's to the story in particular. So you could be like, "Hey, John, I like cats too."
That is great. It's a good way to give them feedback about their own
Yeah,
stuff.
but that's more for like older students because you need to learn how to write stuff, and
Yes,
when it's
exactly.
younger students, it's a bit more challenging. You're like, as long as you can open a tab and not close out of it, I am proud of you.
Yes, but you see, but then once you add the link and a Flipgrid, then somebody can respond,
Mhm,
doing video respond to your video
mhm.
talking instead of writing the answer or writing your comments. You can do a video and giving thumbs up at the story. So that's also good for the little ones.
Yeah, for the little
They can
ones.
still they can still participate,
Mhm.
collaborate, and give feedback to others through there.
Yeah, great. So I don't know if you have any last questions.
I think I asked you a lot of questions
Oh
today.
no. Oh no. Like I mean, we didn't code that much because you're already a pro. You're like, I already know how to code everything. I got like my blocks. They're all connected. I'm like, I don't have anything to say now. Like, good job.
You see, in this one, I did a mistake. You see, because yes, I forgot to add the buttons, the links. Yes, so then yes, but that's good because that way you go back and you see where you made the mistake, and
Mhm.
that's part of the learning. Going back and checking your own work, and everything is like that. Like when you're doing math, you have to go back and check your work. So it's the same. It's the same here.
Yeah, like this episode is not about how to code. It's just Hera gives us tips and tricks on how to engage pre-K to first graders across the curriculum. Like so. Yeah, because you already got everything set up for the coding. I think just the last things would just be just knowing that you can full screen the event graph. So if the kids are on like iPads when the screen is small, they'll have more room to work on their code. Um, yeah, so
Right?
that's
Yes.
the only tip I would say. You can also zoom in, zoom out if you wanted to, but so if you are visually impaired like me, then you can zoom in.
It's good so that way they can see better because you can move your things around better. Because sometimes when you're adding too many events, I was thinking I was a little afraid I was running out of space on my
Hmm.
screen. I was like, where am I gonna put it? So now I know.
Yeah, and then you can move the canvas also, so you're not just constrained to like that little corner. So if you wanted to code a whole bunch, you just keep, moving the canvas down or to the
Or
right.
yes,
So that way you just have more room. But some
okay.
people don't really realize that they can move the canvas and they're like, I don't have any space anymore.
Yes, that's what I was feeling like. I was thinking of that. I just thought that I was running out. So
Yeah. So, anyway, I think this episode is pretty much wrapped up. We have lots of ideas on how to engage young learners to write and code. Not all of it was on elementary, but it was just a general, like, how to get kids involved with writing and coding, which is so important. And even showing that it could be done as early as pre K, which I never really thought it could be done at, but we have lots of examples of how you can do it from
yeah, yeah.
from someone within the classroom themselves. So take it from the expert. And it was really great having Jahara here with her expertise and just sharing some of her ideas of what she's done in the classroom that's worked, hasn't worked. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact her. I believe her Twitter link is in the description, so you can connect with her, and she has lots more to share if you ever have any questions. And yeah, I think that's it from us. And we're a bit early, but I think that's it. So I guess we're just gonna sign out. See you tomorrow. I believe tomorrow's show is on. I don't want to say something wrong. So tomorrow's show will be on. Let me grab it. Coding grammar. So coding grammar, we're gonna jump all the way up to high school. And so tomorrow will be on how to integrate coding with grammar. Very interesting. So we'll be joined by high school teacher Nancy. And then the rest of the week's schedule is on Wednesday, we'll be talking about escape rooms with audio clues with Lisa Lang, who's a K-4 computers teacher. And this will be an activity geared for grades 3 to 4. We'll be also doing sound haikus on Thursday to integrate arts. And then Friday, we'll just be doing a coding adventure story and with Michelle Ward. So see you guys then. And we're signing out. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.